When we talk about the raft model, we talk about raft. This is when we talk about how important it is to change our attitudes. How often have we, sometime in our life, at work or at home, somebody has told us that we need to change our attitude? Many of us have been here where somebody has said we need you to change your attitude, but oftentimes we don't want to change our attitude. Many times we believe that we deserve to have our bad attitude because we've had a bad day, or sometimes we know that we need to, but sometimes we just don't know how. And when I learned this process called RAFT, this was instrumental in my experience when I needed to make sure that my attitude is where it needed to be. When we talk about RAFT, we talk about R, we need to realize that the event is occurring. We need to realize that things are going to happen. We need to understand that there are things in our life that we cannot control. Sir, we were talking about traffic earlier and how frustrating that was. We were talking about, you talked earlier, sir, you said that people just hang up on the phone on you, or people don't show up to their appointments, or people are rude, or people are disrespectful. It's understanding how important it is that we need to understand what we can change and what we can't change. And one of the things in life that we have to do is realize that the event is occurring. But secondly, and most important, we need to realize that we have to accept that the event is occurring. Not only realizing it, but we need to accept it. By saying, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that the gentleman didn't know how to use his blinkers. It's okay that the person hung up on you. Why? Because they're just having a bad day. Why? It's because maybe their mind is on something else. We don't know what's going on in many times people's lives. And a lot of times what happens is we get all upset, we get all bent out of shape, and it's something that we can't control anyhow, but a lot of times we want to take that responsibility. That's why we need to focus on what we can control. We need to focus on what we can control. Our attitude, our activity, and our schedule. And then we need to transform that negative emotion into positive moment. It's okay that that person didn't show up to the appointment. It's going to give you 2 hours to door knock all the businesses around it. It's okay that that person hung up the phone because there's 2,000 more people that you can call that need your service. It's okay. When we turn the negative emotion into positive momentum, it's amazing how powerful that is. I was in Sacramento one day, and I remember it was a Monday evening. And this particular Monday evening was at the end of a long day. I had a big class. I was exhausted. All I wanted to do was leave the hotel, get something to eat, come back, and go to bed. That's all I wanted to do. And I remember I get in my car, and I head to dinner, and I go have a good dinner. And when I come back, the light by the turnoff to go into the hotel is going red, green, red, green, red, green, but the traffic is not moving. There is some type of altercation in the intersection. Well, I thought not a big deal because there's a side road just before the light that I could turn in and go to the hotel the back way. What I didn't realize is that the lady in front of me hated me. The lady in front of me just had this strong dislike for me, and she knew that I was behind her. We all know this person, don't we? She had been planning for months, knowing that this is going to be a long day, knowing that I was going to be at the hotel, knowing that I was going to go to dinner, knowing that I was going to be back at the hotel by a certain time, and she knew that there was going to be a problem at the light. She knew this months in advance. What she did to me, because she didn't like me, is she pulled back just enough where it blocked me where I couldn't turn in the side road. Now, she was in this car just loving every minute of it because she knew I was behind her wanting to get to my hotel. She'd been planning this for months. You know that lady, don't you? And I'm sitting there grabbing my steering wheel and I'm just angry. Will she move, lady? Please move. You can just scoot up a little bit. But she sat there on purpose because she knew I was behind her. And I remember I'm just getting, by the second, I'm getting angry. And I remember at one point, I looked down and I looked at her license plate. And now she had a cover on her license plate. And that cover on her license plate said, "Watch out for the idiot behind me." And I started chuckling. I thought, wait a second. She's talking about me? And that couple seconds that I started to chuckle, what do you think happened to my stress? It went away. Now this whole scene that I just created, this whole scene that I just talked about, was about 2 minutes. Then she drove off and I drove in. As I tell you that story, did she really know who was behind her? Did she really know that it is me? And as I sat there for that 2 minutes, and I allowed myself to get that angry, did it really matter? Who was in control of my attitude? Did that 2 minutes sitting there really affect my schedule? Did that really affect my activity? But how often do we allow those small little things to cause that type of stress? Because the reality was she was probably yelling at the guy in front of her because he was doing the same thing to her. When we talk about raft, realizing that the event is occurring, accepting that the event is occurring, but when we focus on what we can control, we transform our negative emotion into positive momentum.